Welcome to Dr. Jester Rants, and I'm gonna rant about this. From the Blaze again. CBS News praises Biden for minimum wage hike proposal. Buries fact that it may cost millions of jobs. The absolutely last thing that unemployed workers need right now. The absolute, not he. Jesus. Well, this article may prove to be slightly longer because of the explanation that I have to explain. This is mostly difficult for small-time businesses or businesses with who are not big, like Costco, Walmart, Amazon, or Apple, Google, Microsoft, and things like that. It will cost them the existence of those businesses because these people cannot afford to pay employees, not only insurance and all those other things, plus the minimum wage. So let's go on and explain that a little bit, because large companies do have a larger fund, but here is the thing: they usually have the resources or the know-how and the ability to outsource a lot of their stuff to machines. So that's not a problem for many of them, including McDonald's, which we actually saw the increase of automatization in McDonald's itself, losing lots and lots of burger flipper jobs. And then we go on and see them outsourcing it to other countries. For instance, the support system from many of those companies are actually based on India, because they actually have to pay much less. They respect the minimum wage of the local country, but it's absolutely much, much smaller than what you'll pay in America. Then you see them outsourcing a lot of things as well. For instance, metal production, iron, and other things that would generally be within America if the prices were lower and they didn't have a federal minimum wage. They would buy it from America. But now, with the minimum wage being as it is, they are now going to buy it from cheaper places. For instance, from China, from India, from other places in the world. And where that money will go to those places. And the jobs that the Americans had, especially in the iron belt and other things like the oil places and in Pennsylvania, it will be gone. So, more unemployment. But then, let's suppose we ignore all of that. What happens when you hire somebody and increase the minimum wage? So, you have 3 employees and yourself working on your little shop, which soon is gone and being replaced by a Walmart. But let's digressing, and let's go and focus on that little shop. So, you increase for $15 an hour, and you're barely making ends meet, or you're barely scraping by, or you are just keeping your shop afloat. So now, instead of paying what, $12, $10 an hour for the people, for the sellers in your shop, now you have to pay $15 for everybody in your shop. What can you do? You can't print money. You can't borrow money, because that will lead you in debt, and you will have to pay that eventually. So you can't do that. So what do? You fire, let's see, at least 1 employee. So now you have 2 employees instead of 3. But things will start to have a cascading effect, because now the products you buy from your shop for your shop will now increase the prices as well, because the companies that produces those things also will have to increase the prices of their products to meet the demand of the minimum wage. So let's see, a mug that you used to pay $1 and you would sell for $3. I'm just using an example here. I don't know how much it costs in America, so something like that. But so now that you bought it for $1, now you're gonna have to buy it for $2, because the company that made the mug, although locally or in some cases imported, they still have local employees. So trying to keep the costs low, they'll fire some people and increase the prices of their products to try and cover the extra expense they had with the increase of the employees. And now the people that creates those mugs, the factory that creates those mugs, fired what? They had 30 people, now they fired 10 people, so now they have 20. So they are less efficient now. They produce less. But the prime materials they use to create that mug has also increased the price. So instead of paying 10 cents for a pound of, I don't know, mud or something they use for the mugs, or whatever the name in English, now they have to pay 20 cents for a pound of that. Because the company that produces and extracts that prime material also has local employees, despite, or let's suppose they have 40 people working on that. Now they have fired 15 of those people. Now they have much less employees, less people working for them. Instead of 40, they will have 25. And now things are starting to increase in problems, because it has a cascading effect. So now instead of selling your mug for $3, you now have to sell that mug for $5. So those $15 that the government said that you should increase has now completely lost its purchasing power. Now your $15 will be worth less. It's kind of like you earning $10 an hour. Now you have inflation and unemployment. Ta-da! Congratulations, Biden, you ruined the American economy and you increased the unemployment number. Now more people are unemployed and seeking government benefits. Congratulations, you enacted your socialist utopia. Interesting, isn't it? And that's exactly in a few of the discussions that I had with a few socialists or other morons who advocated for increasing minimum wage. And that's exactly what I explained to them, and did they get it? No! They think it's as easy peasy as printing money. That because you're a business owner, you cut your wages even more. That's not always the case, especially for the smaller businesses in mom and pop shops, in which mostly the owners are either go a month without pay, in most cases. Sometimes their pay is even less than the employee, sometimes slightly more. It's all fluctuating because their pay is based on what they can get out of the shop. Meanwhile, they have to keep it standards for all the employees inside the shop. So now you get even smaller, and even suppose your wage as a boss from that shop was static and didn't change, and it was a lot. Even if you cut it, you would still not be able to pay for the third employee in your shop. That will just cost even more jobs, and the inflation will just increase. But with these people, the idea is you print money. Hey, what's the problem in printing money? Soon, you're gonna have like a very huge stack of money like this just to buy this roll of toilet paper. You're gonna need this much in $100 in bills just to buy a single roll of toilet paper. Just look at Venezuela. That's exactly what happened. Do these people understand what is going to happen? Of course not. And even more so, most of these companies, for instance, those big agricultural conglomerates who own lots of farms, instead of hiring local people, will now hire illegal immigrants. Here, the reason why they want open borders, because now they don't actually have to pay taxes over those employees, and they could even do a few dirty tricks to avoid paying those employees. First, if they pay, it will be way below those $15 an hour. Will be what, $5 an hour? 3 or something like that? Slave labor. Hey, after all, Democrats are the slave party, aren't they? So now you're gonna have a problem too, because if the company, hey, we hired 100 illegals, and they all demand $5 an hour. Fuck that, let's call ICE. And then ICE comes in, raids the farm, gets all those 100, probably 80, 90, that's considering 10 manages to escape. and then get those 80, 90 deported back to Mexico, whatever country they come from. Seriously, do Democrats think of the consequences before they vote for nonsensical shenanigans? Jesus Christ. I know that in some cases they are thinking their heart is in the right place. They think, $15 is more money for the person there. But they do not think of the consequences of what will happen if that is increased to $15. They do not think of the consequences of what will happen if you keep the borders open and let everyone in willy-nilly. That's exactly one of the consequences. They'll just call eyes on the employees and get them deported because they don't want to pay their wages, and that has happened and is happening right now in America, despite all of those things, especially in California. Congratulations, Democrats, you are great at ruining countries. And when I'm referring to Democrats here, I'm referring to Democrats in general, as in all the control leftist, socialists, and things like that. Because even the shithole I live in has quite a few Democrats. But, well, people who actually believe the same thing as Democrats. Anyway, with that explanation done, let's go ahead into the article. Shall we? CBS News was criticized this week for whitewashing the effects of President-elect Joe Biden's proposal to hike federal minimum wage. Biden released his proposal for the new coronavirus-related economic relief on Thursday, which boasts a price tag of $1.9 trillion. Hey, printing money, it's what you do best. Included in the bill, in the addition to stimulus checks and more federal unemployment benefits, is a proposal to hike the federal minimum wage to at least $15 per hour. Here's another thing. Turns out that a lot of the states who actually have mandated $15 an hour, their products increase in prices. What did the residents of those places do, especially in smaller states or people who live at the border of those, inside the border? What? They actually go on and leave the state to the neighboring state with a lower minimum wage and spend their money there. Congratulations, you idiotic morons! Anyway, the news outlet titled its story on Biden's bill, Biden minimum wage proposal could lift more than 1 million workers out of poverty. Sorry, it won't. It won't even lift more than 1 million workers. In fact, it will decrease the quantity of workers back to poverty. They want people to go to poverty when they increase the minimum wage. And that's exactly what happens in the shithole I currently live in. The minimum wage it gets raised, and guess what happens? The inflation goes up. And what we could afford last year, for instance, pork. I haven't eaten pork in almost a year because I can't afford pork anymore. Anyway, let's see. Beef, for instance. I haven't eaten beef in over a year. Nearly 2. Anyway, as the old adage goes, CBS buried the lead. Yeah. While Biden's proposal would indeed lift some Americans out of poverty, the Congressional Budget Office also discovered that Biden's proposal to hike the federal minimum wage would put millions of Americans out of work. Exactly, like explained in the beginning of this video. CBS News admitted as much in its story, albeit in the 9th paragraph, of course. The CBO also estimated the move would cost 1.3 million American jobs, a claim long made by conservative economists. Mr. Biden's call to boost the minimum wage to $15 an hour is the absolute last thing an unemployed worker needs right now. Exactly, because of 5 employees, now you're gonna have to cut employees to 3, for instance, because those 2 employees' wages will now be used to pay for the increase in wage of those 3 employees. Now you're getting the issue of the situation. Michael Farron, an economist with the right-leaning Mercatus Center at George Mason University, of course, right-leaning. You're not gonna do the same thing if it was a left-leaning thing. You say the economist with the factual organization, the think tank, things like that, when it's left-leaning. When it's right-leaning, or they do not subscribe to the left-wing ideology, they all say right-leaning, extremist right, things like that. MacArthur's of George Mason University said in an email, after all, they can't benefit from higher wages if those higher wages result in slower job growth. Not only that, in people getting fired. In fact, the CBO report from 2019 found that 1.3 million jobs is the only median estimate of job losses, explaining there is a significant chance that at $15 per hour minimum wage would result in an even more job losses. Congratulations! America, you are becoming Latin America! Isn't that the dream you wanted? The report explained, in an average week in 2025, the $15 wait. Yes, the sound is coming through. The $15 option would boost the average of 17 million workers who would otherwise earn less than $15 per hour. Another 10 million workers otherwise earning slightly more than $15 per hour might see their wages rise as well. It will have to increase because you can't have a burger flipper who flips burger and $15 an hour and have somebody else who manages money, who is the cashier, who should be earning more, which is what? Was earning $15 an hour before, and the burger flipper was earning what? $12 an hour before, now it's 15. The cashier, who also has more responsibilities than the burger flipper, will now have to increase its wage as well, because there will be no benefit of working the cashier and having more responsibility by handling money. So the person will then go and seek for another job, or you'll have to increase the wage of that employee as well to now three more bucks. Let's see, $18 an hour. So now you'll have to cut an employee to cover the expenses of the increasing wages. Congratulations, you fucked up the economy. Anyway, let's finish the article. But 1.3 million other workers will become jobless, according to CBO's median estimate. There is a 2/3 chance that the change in employment will be between 0 and a decrease of 3.7 million workers. The number of people with annual income below the poverty threshold in 2025 would fall by 1.3 million. Ultimately, not only would a higher minimum wage cost jobs, but the costs associated with raising wages would be passed on to consumers, CBS News noted. Finally, they said some factual information at the end, because everything else here will be passed on to you as a customer. So if you thought that mug with $3 costing $3 for a mug was expensive, imagine and just wait when you actually have to pay $5, $6, $7 for the same mug. Congratulations. Congratulations, you just made America Latin America, the place where Latinos were fleeing from because of socialists and retarded economic ideas like these. Congratulations. Aren't you just proud of your shit? They don't think this is true, do they? Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and hit the notification bell button if you want more of these, and head to minds.com for exclusive content that I cannot cover in YouTube because they are a censorious little shit stain on humanity's collective underwear. Anyway, the most important thing of all, thank you for watching. Good night.